It's a
As
lot of y'all in here, man.
what's that?
I said it's a lot of y'all in here.
Yeah, it's a couple. It's a couple people here. As always, man. Number one, I want to say thank you for you guys being here. Where you spend your time is where you love, and where you love is where you spend your time. And so, you guys obviously are looking to empower yourselves, make yourselves better, and so that's way more important than any other conversation that we can have because you guys are investing in yourselves through time, and so making sure that you guys understand the magnitude of what's going on here. Like we are in a fight right now. We're in a fight to create wealth for our families. We're in a fight to create a legacy for our families. And we have so many other distractions that are pulling us away from that fight. We have so many other distractions that are saying that we need to we need to go right when we need to go left. I was just with one of my one-on-one clients. We're here in New Orleans. They're on the call right now, and she's successful. She has a nice practice, and she's doing the doctor thing, the dentist thing, excuse me, and it's pulling at her, right? Because that six-figure lifestyle is pulling at her, but she really wants to be a full-time entrepreneur. So today, what I want to do is I want to bring someone on that most of you, pretty much everybody here knows. He's started off as a mentor, and now I consider him one of my closest friends, somebody that I can talk with about not just wholesaling, but talk about life. And the reason why I wanted to bring him on here, number one, he obviously knows what he's talking about. He's super successful. But the main reason is that he started from a position where everybody else probably is on this call, right? He wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He had to work and grind for every dollar that he earned. And so that story, I think, number one, will inspire you. That story will help you push forward. It'll pull you away from some of those demons that are trying to take you down to the wrong path. You're on this entrepreneurial wholesaling path. So without further ado, my man, Maxwell, what's going on, brother?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm actually at my mom's house where I started at right now. It's Sunday. My mom's Jamaican, so I'm coming over to eat. But the story, what you just said, is like, really like this is where I started upstairs in my old room from high school. And
you still got the Lamborghini on the wall?
Nah, that poster's gone. That poster's gone, but everything else is pretty much the same. Yeah, that Lamborghini poster is rolled up into my into one of my boxes somewhere.
That's what's up. Cool. Yeah, man. So man, thank you so much for taking the time out, man. Just I'm quite sure everybody does know, but kind of like the journey. Like I'm interested in the journey before we get into some of the methods that we're seeing and some of the transitioning that we're seeing in the market. Talk about that journey specifically from the heart, like what it felt like going through it. Because we could put the X's and O's, the logical, the 1 + 1 is this, the math works. But how did you stay the course? How did you stay the course and do it? You there, Max?
Yeah, you said how the journey. Just talk about my journey. Well, I mean, for me, it was I was at the place where I was like at the bottom, as far as like life, motivation, and a lot of that stuff. And a lot of people don't know that, I've had probably 7 to 10 other failed businesses before I got to this point right here. And I was always that one, and I don't know if y'all that one that everybody looks at you like you crazy because you always starting something new, right?
Yep.
And so you get that a lot, man. I got that a lot, even amongst my siblings. I'm the middle child. It's 5 of us. And even my siblings looked at me like I'm crazy, but 2 of them work for me right now. So it's cool. I should say work with me. So, just going from like, most of you guys know my story. I started with like, literally I overdraft my account right down here on Country Club in Peace Haven. I see Yusuf in here. You know where that's at. Country Club in Peace Haven. And right on that corner there is where I put that Bank of America card in there and filled up my '04 Jetta for the last time because I knew that was it when it came to overdrafting. And I took that dollar and I used every bit of that gas to find a house. My first house was in a neighborhood called Salem Woods, which is somewhere where I grew up in. And that's my start. And it was probably in any of my business, it was the most proudest check or dollar I ever held in the beginning. And from there, it was just proof of concept that I no longer have to trade hours for dollars, and I can go out and make my own destiny. And I was like, if I can do this over and over and over again, I literally have something real good here. You know, it's not like, you know, betting on the stock market or doing something. Not saying that I don't do that or I don't, that's not real, but I was like, man, if I can do this over and over and over again, I could win this. And that was my goal. I just wanted to make sure I can do this over and over and over again. So 3 weeks in, I got my first deal. The second week after that, I got my second deal under contract. And I've never looked back since then. I don't even know how many deals I've done, really. I've never added them up because the roller coaster, you're enjoying it while you're riding. But I know I've been either part of or wholesaled hundreds of deals.
Wow.
I'm not just talking 100 or 200. I'm talking 200-300 wholesale deals, and that's inside the Triad, Charlotte, and a lot of JVs across the country.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So a lot of us that are on this call, we're newer into this thing, and I love the hundreds of deals. But what did it really take for you to get that one, right? So I was watching an interview, a guy named Sam Ovens. If you guys haven't heard of Sam Ovens, you should check him out, right? So he's a marketer, but has really blossomed into a really influential businessman. And he was telling the story about this person that was doing direct mail, and he calls it a gun to your head marketing, or gun to your head situation, and making that real, right? And I did the same thing in the police department when we had certain missions that I had to really kind of make a situation really real to push me through, because it's Sunday, right? Everybody on this call could be, watching a football game or doing something different, right? But they're here. So what was the things when you ran against the wall, what did you use to push through that gun to your head type of a moment?
It was, I think, I don't know, man. A lot of it was just I just knew I couldn't fail. A lot of it at that point in my life, I was still worried about what a lot of people said about me, in the point of failure. And I think that was some of my driving moments. I can't stop. I can't fail. I can't stop. I got to keep going. And it was tough, man. And after deal 1 and 2, it wasn't like just deal 3 just came. It took a while. It took a while, but I never stopped driving. And I was, man, I got to spend this money smart that I got. And that's the thing. I never just took the money and just did dumb things with it. I always knew that I had to be in it for the long run. And I mean, I took risk as far as marketing risks with things like that. But man, mentally, I just put my head down, man. And then I got to a point where I cut everybody out that was in my life, good or bad. It didn't matter. I needed no distractions. I was talking to a friend the other day. I went from a point in life where I did not want to be entertained. Does that make sense? I didn't want to watch TV.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to hear nobody's stories. I didn't want to watch no games. I was like, I need to be present in what they call life. And that made me realize, and I think that helped me with a few things. One, it never distracted me or took me away from my goal. I think being entertained is good to some points, but I think if you don't understand that you're being entertained, it takes you away from your actual goal. So on my mind every day, I tell this story where when I was learning wholesaling and getting deal 1 and deal 2, I couldn't sleep. I know many of y'all go through that. It was bad. It was so bad for me. I was grinding my teeth at night. I had to go to CVS and spend $70 on a mouth guard. I needed those $70. It was just that my brain wouldn't allow me to sleep. I knew I was on to something, but I had to cut out all distractions that life was bringing me, good or bad. I didn't want to be a part of anything. And there's a point, a lot of people call successful people assholes, and I kind of get it. Now that I feel like I'm successful to the measures of what they call successful, I get it, because you have to cut a lot of people off to get where you are, to be able to reach back and help masses. So I feel one, I retired my mother. She can work if she wants to or not. Pay for my sister's college. Both of my brothers work for me. My little nephew is working for me. So I'm reaching back and I'm helping people. I enjoy putting out these videos and the YouTube stuff. I did that for a year without ever getting a check or getting
Yeah.
paid or doing
Oh, yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
It was just I felt obligated that, man, I just learned this. I need to give it back. And you'll get to that point, but you gotta cut the distractions away. I know it sounds simple, but
Yeah.
I know football season's rolling around. I still don't care. I won't watch it.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember the very first meetup that you did with Dave. Dave is on here when you came out to Atlanta, and someone asked me. He said, "What do I do for fun?" And I said, "I don't have any fun. I'm not planning anything. There's a time and place. There's a specific moment in your life that everybody has that it's like, okay, this is the time that you go all in, like this moment, and you have to be able to recognize that moment and then be in that moment. And while you're in that moment, you can't have other things in your ear because it's distracting you. It's taking you away from. That's like that one shot that everybody talks about, right? That they think they only have one shot, but it's like this. It's where everything kind of comes together, and you can really get some strides. Man, that this is that moment for me, and obviously you seized that moment with you.
Yeah, I think a lot of people believe that there has to be a work-life balance.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't have to be in the beginning. That's false. No. I think you should grind till your eyes bleed in the beginning, because having fun broke is not fun. You're just getting by.
It's just like the perception of fun.
Yeah, I mean, now I'm at the point in my life where I can do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it. That's fun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just a couple years of sacrifice that allows you to get to that position. The thing is we just feel like we're gonna miss out. I see a lot of y'all on this call. Y'all young as hell. If you miss your whole 20s grinding, it's way better when you get to your 30s and you got all the money you ever want to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's just different, man. So I would say anybody that's on the fence, or you're on the middle of giving up, or your friends is telling you this, or your friends is telling you that, man, stop that, man. Stop letting blind people pre-fruit your dreams, because they can't see it. And once you get to a certain point in life, you'll start to understand the difference between like entrepreneurs and what I call regular people, and not in a bad way, but you'll start to understand it, and you'll look at life and you just be like, okay, I get why rich people be laughing all the time. They're laughing at us, you know, but it's true. You know, it's like, I look at things now and I say, man, why y'all? I'm like, I get it. I get it. I get it that you don't get it.
What's crazy is that, and I was talking today with some friends, and we were like, there's this misconception that we have to work harder, right? So it's not harder, it's just hard. So the amount of work that you put in to make $1 million is not harder work than it took for you to make six figures. It's not harder than work than what you took to make $50,000 a year. You have to work hard, but you don't have to work hard. There's this misconception that like the more money that you make, the harder you have to work. And it's more about being observant and seeing, like, I remember this conversation me and you had about a business idea. And we're talking about this, and you just like, man, this is so simple. Like, why don't you just put these people in place, and boom, you have a business. And I was like, that's actually working easier, you know, than doing what I was doing before. It's just, you looked at it from a different point of view, a different perspective. How do you see what's coming down the pike? How do you see what's happening? Where's your mind at when you're able to like pick up on those little things, those little cues?
I think when you get away from that being entertained, you start to observe. Like I don't care what you watch. I don't care if it's Fox, CNN, sports, football, baseball, basketball. You're being entertained by billionaires.
True.
With a purpose of entertaining you. And once you understand that, and you understand that even if for those 3 hours that you're away on a football game, you're being programmed for something that you don't even know, even though it could be as small, and you're being programmed. And I'm not saying the bad way or good way. You could just be programmed to always drink Coca-Cola products, right? But just whatever it is, you're being marketed to. And once you separate yourself from the masses of people that love to be entertained, you start to realize how people want to be entertained or how people like to be marketed to. No matter what business you're in, it's all about marketing, right? I don't care how great your product is, right? Let's all agree, Beyonce is not the greatest singer in the world. But if you look at her stats, she is, right? So it's how they marketed her to everybody else, right?
Yeah.
You look at Supreme. It's not the greatest quality T-shirts in the world. Just to say they get the same supply everybody else gets, but it's how they market it.
Straight off of Alibaba.
Right? Yeah, I can't buy a house with any golden dollars than Yusuf can when we in the same market. I don't have like the golden ticket.
Yeah.
But I understand how people want to be marketed to. And when you step out of being entertained, away from being entertained and become more observant of people, then you realize, oh, that's how people like to be. You start to understand humans better.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like, you know how people is like dog whisperers? They observe, dogs, they see. Like, you become a human whisperer. And you start to see how people like to be entertained and how they like to be marketed to when you step away from that I want to be entertained syndrome. I don't want to be entertained. Don't show me no new song. Don't show me no, I want to see it. I want to see you see it.
Yeah.
And once I see how you react to it and how you do things, your light just starts opening, man. So that's how I kind of predict or see things coming down the lane.
When you become that astute about the human being,
yeah,
how does that help you when I guess like building rapport during a call or negotiating?
It's easy. Because you start to realize, you start to look at, hear, and see. If you're in person, you start to see mannerisms. You start to hear mannerisms on the phone on how people react, and you just know how to dodge and kind of what to do with people. I sound mad. I didn't know, but I'm telling you, just understanding how people like to be entertained and how people observe things, and you start watching from a third perspective of things, you start to realize how people. It's easy. Yeah. And you start to understand how to speak to people. And you become a chameleon, and there's nobody you can never speak to. I don't care. Man, I bought a house from people that's got the most Confederate memorabilia I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It don't matter. Like, I understand him as a person.
Got you. Man, that's powerful, man. We were talking a while ago. So this is kind of bring you guys up to date, some of the behind the scenes like conversations that me and Max have, specifically more about business and markets, and where do we see this wholesaling thing going? Like, how is this working out? I don't know if you remember the conversation we were having about transitioning markets and how I'm out here in Atlanta, and for you guys that didn't know, I initially tried to start wholesaling in Atlanta, and this was before I found out about Max, and it was a mess. It was a wreck, right? I just was not doing it. I went down to Macon, different type of market, smaller market for you guys that aren't familiar with Georgia.
First campaign, boom.
Yeah, exactly. So this is after I spent my cousin who's on this call. He can attest to it. My cousin said, "Man, who is this Max dude? You just gave him how much money to talk to him for 30 minutes? You stupid. Like, what's wrong with you?" And that moment, right, like really changed everything, right? But these markets, that the difference between an Atlanta and a Macon, these shifting markets, these emerging markets, what are you seeing where investors are spending their dollars at now?
So a lot of people, well, I know, for example, like my market, I would consider like a B, maybe C plus market. And as far as like the amount of people, like I'm between Raleigh and Charlotte. This is how people want to describe it. And most people have heard of Raleigh, North Carolina. Most people have heard of Charlotte. Most people never heard of Winston-Salem. But it's like the feeder city for both cities. And I love it here because you don't see many big spikes in real estate when the cost goes up. You don't see much of a hit, but I would call it a more stable, steady market where investors that actually have real money, have actual financial principles, love to be in a market like this.
Did you guys take a big hit in 2008?
No. I mean, we had some stuff, but it wasn't like prices fell like Atlanta or prices dropped like Charlotte. No, we didn't have that. I mean, we had foreclosures and stuff like that, but we didn't have the masses of just craziness. We have a good, stable healthcare job market, right? So job markets in your B and C cities are usually like bigger places move there because it's cheaper. Like Macon was having Amazon run there, right?
Yep.
They couldn't run to Atlanta. Wouldn't be feasible. It'd be stupid. But Macon's got a good healthcare industry out there, right?
Macon, they have the hospital. Yeah.
So
hospital that's feeding that big hospital down there.
So I run in those fields, and I love those markets. Like for example, so I'm in the Tennessee market, but I actually operate in Murfreesboro, which is about 40 minutes outside of Nashville, which is a feeder market.
Yeah.
So I look at the feeder markets to the big city, and you'll start seeing trends like crazy. You start seeing, because now it becomes acceptable to drive 30 minutes to work, 45 minutes to work, because you don't want to buy a house that's $1 million that you can get for $250 and see in a feeder city right outside. You know what I mean? And then a lot of people like now I'm listing my like some of my rehabs. I'm listing rehabs on the MLS, and they're selling in a day.
Wow.
A day, hours. And it's to the point now where realtors know that if you don't get your client in that house on day one, you might as well not go see it, because everybody's submitting full price offers with no asking nothing. They're not asking for anything.
Yeah.
So a nice rehabbed house is going fast, and that shows me trends. So I stay away from your Phoenix, Arizona's, your Dallas, Texas. Like I also operate in Columbus, Ohio. I don't think I've ever told anybody that publicly. So I'll operate in Columbus, Ohio, Nashville, and Winston-Salem, or the Triad of Winston-Salem, Triad, North Carolina.
Yeah.
But those markets are better than those other markets.
They are, man. They are. And the other thing is that I've noticed is that, and we talked about this with the RVMs, is that in Atlanta, like I'm surprised I don't get an RVM call, someone RVM me while we're on this call, just because my number is associated with a big city, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just happening so much that people have become numb to it.
Yep.
So as soon as they pick up the phone, if they don't hear a real voice, like within the first second, like a normal person would answer the phone, they hang up. And the smaller markets, they're not getting bombarded like that. Mm-hmm. So the RVMs and those ringless voicemails and those calls are still working. So it's just, for me, I noticed it. I noticed that we had this conversation when I was like, man, I think I'm going back to the smaller markets. I'm in Atlanta, done some deals in Atlanta, done quite a few deals in Atlanta, but I'm starting to see that, man, I can spend less money and get a better result in some of the smaller markets.
Another thing too is you become a market leader.
True.
That's the thing. You become a market leader in versus like one of these Charlottes and stuff like that. Like most people know my name around here, not just because of YouTube, but like they know the company, they see our LLCs. I got like 7 LLCs I buy properties with. Like they know. At this point, they know when if we walk into a house versus them they might as well wrap it, hang it up. You become the market leaders in places like that.
You kind of want to be like the bully, right? The bully of the.
I've always loved being a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's easier to build, and you said this on Dave's podcast when he asked you, you do more on your real estate or on your brand, right? Mm-hmm. He was like, man, brand, right?
I made more money in my brand. Yeah, now I do.
Yeah, brand is everything. And I think for real estate professionals, which everybody out here hopefully is either aspiring to be or already is, a lot of us don't take that seriously, including myself. Right?
And brand doesn't mean you have to go get a YouTube channel. Brand just means you are a brand in yourself. Yeah.
Like you have a standard, you have you are like when people say your name, they're like, okay, I think of this.
Correct. When they see you, what do they think of you when they hear you or see your name?
Correct. So building that by providing quality leads or quality houses to your buyers, right? We talk about all the time, man, stop sending trash to people because you're going to build a brand. You're just going to build a negative
brand. Yeah. The emails will stop getting less equaled up. You come up in the RIA meetings as a clown.
Yeah. So besides being the big fish in the small pond, what's some practical steps do you think that we could take away from going through this journey of building your brand?
Well, one thing is simple. Like always do exactly what you say you're going to do. And that's if you're in a smaller city, because remember, this real estate game is small. I'm talking from nationwide, this whole nationwide.
Yeah.
Real estate game is very small compared to a lot of industries. It's small. And when you even go down to your city or your town, it's that much smaller. So be the person that you say you are, and just be the person you say you would want to work with. Like, be that example of yourself, and always network, always. And I know that word is misused so many. I know David's on here. If you don't know what networking is, read his book about networking. Know how to network with people. Relationships are everything. I can tell you, most people don't see my deals get blasted out. I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
My deals are sold in a phone call, or, a text message to somebody. We just know, my office knows who likes what, where, and without ever seeing, they'll commit to it.
Gotcha. So, yeah.
That's my brand locally. I'm not talking about those guys buying from me don't even know I got a YouTube probably.
Yeah.
So it's building that brand of doing what you say you're going to do and being good at it. And when's the last time y'all called up a buyer that you sold a project to and just called them to see how the project was doing? Call them to say how much money is everything going on well? Is he hitting his targets? Stop by the house. Have a relationship with those guys.
Yeah, that's important. That's gonna make them want to do business with you.
They're clients of yours.
Yeah. That's
if somebody wrote me a $14,000 check for providing them with something, I know my value is in what I provide, but if I want to keep that relationship wide open, I'm gonna stop by the project and just say, hey, is Tommy here? Hey, what's up, Tommy? Just checking in to see man, the kitchen looks great. Working on a few more deals, man. I'll give you a call next week. Those things, because those guys hang around in a circle of buyers.
Perfect, man.
So if you don't sell directly to that person, you can sell. Yeah. So I think I just want you guys to pay attention to what he just said there, right? So a lot of times, especially when we're brand new, and I get why we do it, because it's information overload, that our head is down and all we can see is the thing right in front of us, right? So listen to what he just said. He just goes in networks, because even if someone is working on a project, your average flipper doesn't have the skills or the resources to flip multiple properties at the exact same time. Most of them aren't doing that, right? Nope. They're gonna flip one, they're gonna finish that project, they're gonna sell it, they're gonna go to the next one, right? So he's purposely stopping at a place where he might have a property and he knows that they probably can't buy it because they're already in this flip. But why? Did you pick up what he said? He said, because buyers, when I was a cop, I hung around cops. When I was in the Army, I hung around people in the Army. When you're a flipper, guess who you're hanging around with? People who are flipping, right? It's just common sense. So he's purposely putting himself in a position so he can stretch out that networking circle, right? Yo, Tommy, be honest with you. I still, if I'm driving and I see a dumpster in the driveway and people working, I still stop.
Yeah. And
if I'm not heading nowhere, I stop. I get out the car. I talk to first one. I'm trying to, maybe I can find contractors.
Yep.
The buyers there working, and I can just have a casual conversation. Oh, you investor? Oh, me too, man. I was actually looking at buying this house, even if I wasn't. It doesn't matter.
Well, what's crazy? What he's saying is absolutely 100% true, and I've seen this, right? So, and you can attest to this. So I live in Atlanta. He lives in Winston-Salem. It's about a 5.5 hour drive, right? And then again, in the beginning, I didn't know Max like this, right? But I was like, man, I'm driving 5.5 hours. I'm going to invest in this and drive 5.5 hours. And this is before, he was getting bombarded and stuff. So I would drive around in the car with him and I would watch him do this. So people ask me like, man, where'd you get that from? Like I literally watched him do it. So seeing him do it and seeing the conversation and see how casual it is. And so when we talk about how to do that, we always have to make sure that find out who we're speaking to. So if you're talking to a contractor, you got to give them the what's in it for them, right? You can't come off saying, hey, I'm looking for some buyers, or they want to eat. After they get done with this job, they're unemployed essentially until they have another job, right? So starting off the conversation, giving what's in it for them, number one, and you'll be surprised how much information. Like I do that all the time. I find contractors, I found buyers, I find hedge fund companies, right?
Yo, Tommy, you know how many deals I've actually sold to contractors?
That's another good point.
Like just last month, I know I sold at least 2 or 3 to contractors that, like, my drywall guy just bought a house from me and called me the other day, say he almost done, because he had a $275,000 line of credit from the bank.
Wow. And you just and then you just drive by, everybody else just drives by and say, oh, look at, they're dirty, they're on the roof.
Man, that man work his ass off every day. He dirty, but he got money.
You got money. Yeah, you got money. Cool, man. So, man, you ready to get some Q&A or what?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. So on this Zoom call, if you guys look, there's like some little dots. You can raise your virtual hand, and then I'll try to swing through these things. We'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. Logan, I see your hand went up first. So I'm gonna lower your hand real quick and then unmute you and go ahead and ask your question.
Hey, what's up, Max? I've been wanting to ask, and you too, Tommy. Like recently, I got access to hundreds of private lenders through networking, and I've been trying to figure out like the best way to leverage a private lender, like whether that be a flip or acquiring rentals. I guess, like, what's the smartest way to leverage a private lender?
Man, that really depends. So how I leverage them now is, one, I use them for like the very, very sweet deals that I get. Right. So I run. So if I had to, I think at one point, the most I've ever had, which just recently, was like 7 projects going on. Now that could be from light rehabs to pretty decent sized rehabs. But all of that was mainly. Now I may take the project down with my money and then have them get in bed with me for investment for the whole project. But using them to do hotels is where I would start immediately. So, for example, if you can get a guy that will set aside $100,000, $200,000 for you for the year, and he knows that you're going to pay that 10% for the year. See, put aside $200,000. If you put aside $200,000 for me for the year at 10%, that's what 20,000, something like that.
20. So
with that's easy. Like I'll make 20,000 on a wholesale deal in deal number 1. So every deal after that is free money for me. So I'll do things like where, for example, I bought a deal the other day. It's downtown Greensboro-ish, really in the McLeansville area. And I leveraged private money, which is he got $250,000 set aside for me. I bought it, cleaned it out for $1,100, put it on the MLS, and I'll make $30,000. But that's how I leveraged. I bought it. Like I took the property down, cleaned it out, then put it back on the market. And I got way more money than I would do if I just wholesaled it to somebody that doesn't have money. So find the deals that make sense where you're in and out of them in like less than 30 days.
Okay. All right.
Cool. I'm gonna go down the line. Ollie, what's good, man? You are up.
What's going on, Tommy? What up, Max?
How you doing, brother?
Good, bro. Good. So question for me is, and I talked to Tommy about this a little bit. I'm military as you were, and as Tommy was, and I'm moving around, bouncing around. I just got REI Rail and got driving for dollars as well at the same time. But I'm bouncing around place to place, and I'm trying to figure out how to play in the markets correctly. So in doing that, I'm trying to do. I'm sure you heard set the battlefield, knowing the battlefield, right? So what are the key things that you need to know when you go to each market? Because as virtual, it's hard for me I'm not physically there, so I got to know what I'm doing and target correctly.
So one thing is I always revert to is the hottest zip codes, right? So I always use that free list source hack that tells me what the hottest zip codes are.
Okay.
Now, here's one thing I would caution anybody on doing, including yourself. don't jump into a bunch of subscriptions all at once. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, because the shiny new thing comes out. And and a lot of these products are made by people that don't even do this business. They just see a vacancy in the whole of the market. So what I would do is, like, if you got REI Rail or whatever RVM system you got, master that joint. Okay. Master how to do drops. See, a lot of people I know, because I own part of REI Rail. So I know that people don't change their voicemails. We have 7 rolling voicemails recordings, like, that will hit you different times. Okay. Because you don't want it to be the same thing. You don't want to hear the same. People get lazy. They just record one and they send that out to 4,000 people. It's like, oh my God, nothing worked. Right. Well, you hit the same number 3 times and you got the same message. They know you're not real. So just mastering and then say, okay, well, let me try RVMs at 1 p.m. Okay. Okay, that didn't work so well. Let me try at 3 p.m. Okay, let me try at 5 p.m. Oh wow, I got way more responses at 5. Okay, good. So my 5 is my sweet spot. And then start leveraging other people's times. Like, if you're driving for dollars, start hiring people to drive for you. Like me, it's hard. I usually keep between 1 or 2 full-time drivers at $300 a week, which is what an average Uber driver makes here. And I allow them to go do that on whatever time basis they want. I just say, listen, I need a minimum of 100 deals a week. But keep in mind, somebody else is always trying to steal your job, like the NFL. So if you only do 100 every week, the guy right behind you might be doing 120, and I might cut you, right? So with that being said, for $300, if you do the math, even if he only brings in 100, I'm paying $3 a lead. But these are leads that don't necessarily on any other list. And if he does that for a month straight, 3, 6, 9, 12, I'm paying $1,200 for him to drop 400 leads, right? So the thing is if I get one deal in the next 2 months, even 3 months, from that's $3,600 spent to get one deal that made me 10 grand. Now, in any other business world, anywhere, if you can create a $3,600 product and make $10,000 revenue, I don't care what business you're in, it would be efficient. But we don't look at it, hold it true and tied out, right? So if I can build a car for $3,600 and sell it for $10,000, I would do it every single day over and over again. And we have to look at this business just like any other business. If you had a product that cost you $36 and you can sell it for 100, would you do it? Or if you had a product that you made for 36 cents that you could sell for $1, would you do it? Right. You get what I'm saying? So that's how I look at this game. And yes, that strategy does come with you needing some legs to be able to go out and play. But if I had a decent W-2 job and I can afford to put out $300 a week to a contractor, I would do it. But then what happens is, and I know I'm going off on a tangent, people do that. They do that step, but then they lack on the next step, which is the follow-up. Great, this guy is giving you 100 leads a day. How many times did you call these leads? What did you do with these leads? Right. Well, I didn't do anything. I just thought the deal was supposed to come. That's not how it works. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you got to take one thing and be real good at it over and over again before you move on to the next. Don't just go do this, don't do that, or do, you know what I mean? Right. You just really got to get good at that single tool you develop, because I guarantee you, if all you ever did was RVMs, your entire business, you would get deals, but you got to be good at it. Right. If all you did was put bandit signs up, but you did it every single week, 100 a week, all the time, never gave up, you would have a successful business. There's people that have successful businesses from one marketing strategy, period. They're just real good at that one marketing strategy. And I think in our business and many other businesses, a lot of people like to chase the shiny new ball, go from conference to conference, hearing what's new, webinar to webinar, seeing what's the new stuff, but never actually doing anything. And it's been the same. Like when I go hang out with Mr. Robinson, I go to his house. He say, you know how many people? I got a friend. We both went to this conference together 17 years ago. His books are still wrapped in saran wrap on a thing. Mine have got worn out pages. So they've been doing it for a long time. Right. So be good at that thing. And then when you understand you're in the military, leverage other people's time so that you can do less, but make sure you know how to do what you're asking them to do, right? Like, never send somebody to the battlefield and to do something if you don't know how to explain to them how to do it.
Right. Got it. Good. Cool. Appreciate it, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, man. I know you be getting into it, but we got a list of people's hands.
My bad, man. I get crazy.
I know you get passionate, but I feel you though. All right, Warren, you up, man?
Well, I just want to say hello, Tommy. Hello, Max.
How you doing,
I
sir?
really appreciate you guys. If it weren't for you guys, I don't know what I would be doing in this wholesale investing real estate. I had went to one of those seminars and I lost some money and I was discouraged, and I went to YouTube and saw you, Max, start following you. And one day I was on Instagram and you and Tommy was on Instagram, and you guys did a joint venture on the phone in Macon or somewhere. Tommy was at an auction. Was looking at an auction. So I started following Tommy Holt, and that was one of the second best thing that I did, because following you two guys, I've come a long way in this real estate investing. I learned a lot. I'm close to making a few deals. And I just want to thank the E2E family, the Wholesaling Elite family, and I appreciate you guys for what you do, and I'll give the floor up.
Yeah, so I appreciate you. One thing I want to say is, only thing I would beg you to do is, you know, and when you open up the story, you said you lost some money by going to one of these hotel conferences. I get it, and that's the way we're programmed to say, but actually say you learned, you invested some money, and you found out what not to do, right?
Yeah, because I wouldn't know about wholesaling if I hadn't went.
Perfect. There you go. So you invested into that, and now that didn't work out, but you now know, and you've got the other steps of the process.
Right.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
That right there is what we were talking about, practicing in the loss. Not practicing to lose, but practicing within the loss. Like having the mindset, okay, when I'm in the moment, when I'm losing, when I feel this way, how could I shift my thought process? How could I shift what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, so that I practice good habits while I'm down, right? Not when it's easy to do it when everything's going good and you just close the deal. But when you feel like you lost, how do I find that proverbial silver lining, right? Like, how do I look for the good in that? That trains you to just constantly always be looking to be better. So, all right, cool, man. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks a lot. Man, I don't know who's in order because Zoom keeps moving people's hands around. So I'm gonna go with Yusef, and then we'll go. I think he was next. I'm not sure. I'm trying to unlock. There you go.
Thank you. I think I jumped ahead of a lot of people, though, man. I feel bad.
Oh, my bad, man. My bad.
But I'll take it. Max, what's good, homie?
How you doing, brother?
I'm well. Thank you. I miss Uncle Desi's. Let me just say that, man.
It's coming back, man. I'm working on bringing it back.
All right, man. So if memory serves me correctly, I think I met you in Uncle Desi's back before the whole real estate journey. I had a question. I said if I ever got a chance to meet you face to face, and you can answer this quickly, but I just wanted to ask you this, man. I want to just take you back to that room upstairs, you know, to that day, to that hour, that minute, that second, when that light switch turned on and you knew that this was going to be the path, you were going to be all in. Was there a moment, was there an epiphany? Was there something? Because I see the level of focus that you have, and you don't just get here by accident.
Yeah.
I've always wondered that, and I said if I ever met you, I had to ask you.
Yeah, so Yusuf is actually in my local market, man. And when he says Uncle Desi's, that's my dad's name. He had a restaurant. So, man, I don't know if it was a one of those switches that have on and off. I think it was more of one of those dimmer switches that you could turn. And as the weeks went by, and I started to realize that what I was hearing and applying, it was actually there. So, like, for example, when I got in that room, which is right over here, when I got to that point where I was actually studying this stuff, and I would go get in the car and then go drive, I would see these things that they would talk about. And so that's why I don't consider it a switch that just went on. I consider it one of those dimmer switches, the old school in your grandma's house that turn. It was the one that turned on for me. And as I did it, and then I got to a point, when I really, really knew it was it, well, I was all in. But when I really, really knew that, man, this is where I'm going to be at, was the day I set my eyes on 114 Flintfield Drive. And I said, this is my house. This is my check. I need it now. And I think that was the day that it just went like that. And ever since then, the switch has never turned off. It's never turned off. So yeah, man, if I were you, I see you out there. I seen a deal you just posted on Oak Summit. The best, let me off topic, but that deal is best as a short sale.
Okay.
We had the short sale queen working on it, and then he went cold turkey on us. But we could have got that for like $50,000.
Really?
The bank will do the short sale. He just went AWOL. Anyways, but yeah, man. So I would say just the gradual grind is just gonna turn you all the way on. I don't know, man. That's a good question. That's a real tough question to answer. But it's on.
It ain't going off now. All right, cool, man. Denard, you up? Where'd you go, Denard?
I see him right there, yeah.
What's going on, Max?
How you doing, brother?
I'm a big fan of you. I actually found Tommy through you, watching all your YouTube videos. And I'm glad y'all cover brand. I follow you, I follow Gary V, and I was thinking about starting like blogging, YouTube, and I was thinking like should I like just focus on one thing? Maybe I was thinking about like maybe a day in the life of me while like different topics.
Yeah, so for branding reasons, just be you. Like what you see on those YouTube videos is actually me. Like I don't have to turn it on or off. Like I may say a little less cuss words on YouTube, but other than that, like that's just me. It's really me. I'm like that energetic, or I look at Francis that dumb all the time when he says something. Like that's really me. So I would just do what you do, and only people gonna rock with you is people that like what you do, and you don't want anybody else around you that don't. Right. Okay. So I don't care if you get 2,000 subscribers or 2 million, like rock, those people are going to enjoy what you do. And I think it's important that you do put out, because, you know, my walk of life may be different from other people's walk of life, and your walk of life can be different. So just be true. And I promise you, people out there are going to enjoy whatever you got to put out. And I don't care. Like I said, I don't care if that's 10 million or 10 people. It's not about the numbers.
Okay, well, I was just saying because I wanted to cover maybe like wholesaling, and then I got other stuff I'm doing. I was gonna try to like combine all of them together. You think
Put it together. You'll start seeing me. Like a lot of you guys don't know much about what I do outside of real estate. I do a lot, so you'll start seeing more of me as an entrepreneur, right? Like since then, I've got a couple other businesses that do real well, but you'll start to see those now. As I go along, the journey goes along.
So I'm a beginning wholesaler. So you think I should wait till I'm established or start now and just show?
No, do it now, because people need to see you starting from the. Remember, I didn't get on here and say, hey, my name is Max. I'm making 100,000. I'm saying follow me as I try to make 100,000.
Okay.
The journey is better than the destination, always. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, I wouldn't have found Tommy without you. I watch all your videos, all Gary V videos, and I appreciate you for everything.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support.
All right, thank
All
you.
right, appreciate that, Denard. Admin, I always forget where'd he go? There you go.
Right here, Tommy. It's Kamar, man.
Kamar, what's going on, bro?
Not much, man. What's going on with you? Max, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, sir. How you doing?
Pretty good. I heard a phrase the other day at a conference talking about scrubbing your buyers list.
Mm-hmm.
How do I go about scrubbing my buyers list for people that are on the do not call list? And since I'm a beginning wholesaler, is that something I need to worry about?
Yeah. So I think when people say scrub your buyers list, it means the ones you already have, you need to make sure they're actually buyers, so you're not wasting text messages, phone calls with these people. And trust me, there's no buyer in the world, a real buyer, that will be upset with you calling them about deals. Don't ever worry about the do not call list when it comes to a buyer. I don't. Let me tell you what I do. They're never going to be upset that you're calling them to say, hey, you know, my name is blank and I have, you know, some properties. I know you're an investor, blah, 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 whatever. But I think a lot of people don't have a buyer's script either. Not a script, but things you need to collect from a buyer.
Yeah.
You have one of those, right?
Yeah. We talk about that all the time on the call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when they say scrub your buyers, I believe that's what they're speaking about, is making sure that your buyers, you continuously want to massage your buyers list, add people, take people away. Because some people say, oh, I got a buyer's list of 3,600. I ain't got no, my buyer's list is like 300 deep.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
out of those 300, how many people actually buy from you consistently?
Probably about like 12 of them, a dozen.
There you
go. In terms of like legal things, one more question. Is there anything major that I need to worry about that can get me in trouble in wholesaling that I need to stay away from? If there's one or two things you can shoot out there?
Just be honest, man, and do integral stuff. I've never, listen, there's a lot of people that talk about what you need to stay away from and do this. There's a lot less things. Listen, if you're broke, can't nobody sue you. Let me just put that out there. Right. So people need to stop. I'm not saying you're broke, but people that are in a position where they want to grow, they're like, oh man, I don't want to do no RVMs because I heard people getting. So if they do come after you, what can they take?
Yeah.
You own anything. So at that point, I was willing to go all as long as they ain't threatening you with jail time. I'm not saying go out there and do something illegal that's going to land you in jail.
Yeah.
But just go, stay away from the only thing that's going to get you in trouble is fake wholesalers. Stay away from fake wholesalers.
Sure.
Appreciate your time. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
All right. Lee Bam, my man, Lee Bam, what's good? You were up.
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
All right. Hey, what's up, Tommy? Hey, what's up, Max? One thing, I'm doing pretty good. One thing I want to ask, so how do you find you guys were just talking about this earlier. Those big buyers, hedge funds. Yeah, sorry. I'm middle of something. Yeah, hedge funds. So how do you guys go about finding hedge funds, especially the bigger ones in the city?
Sell the hedge funds. Yeah, I don't like to sell the hedge funds. I personally don't. Tommy, you can probably speak on. I mean, I know how to find them. That you like if you go down the buyers list and you don't. So if you all right. So if you go to ListSource and you do that buyers hack, okay, and you actually buy that list, it's gonna, and you don't take away LLCs, you're gonna see who's the repeated big buyer in the city, and that's how you would find them. And they're easy buyers are easy to be contacted. They want to be contacted. But I personally don't like to sell the hedge funds. One reason, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons. One, I don't like to fit inside of their box. And two, I like to keep the ecosystem of my local buyers rolling. Right? Hedge fund can get tired of Winston-Salem and bounce tomorrow. My local buyer, he lives here, he's from here. If I give him a property today, he gonna get more money. He gonna buy another property the next day. Like, I'm just saying, it's like keeping that ecosystem. So hedge funds, the time to sell the hedge funds is when the markets crash.
Got you. Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
But I'm not saying don't go after hedge funds. I'm just telling you why I don't like it.
I personally do. I personally do like that, hedge funds, because they got the cash. I like black and white stuff, right? The hedge funds, what I like about them is that here's the box.
Yep.
If it fits inside the box, they buy it. If it doesn't, there's no emotional, there's no, okay, I like you, Tommy. It's very black and white. And so it's just, I guess it's a, personal opinion, I guess. But, I like the rigidity of it, me personally. Cool?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem, man. TJ.
How y'all doing, man?
All right.
I have a question. So I just got prompt stream yesterday. I've been just going through it and seeing, the different features.
Hold on 1 second, TJ. Somebody's off from mute. Let me mute everybody and then I'm unmute you, TJ. All right. You should be good now, bro.
Perfect. So my question for you, Max, is I know you kind of advertise both of them. How would you say that PropStream helps you or complements your REI Real?
So I'll tell you what REI Rail is not. REI Rail is not a database that you can go search any property you want and get the information such as tax, recent sales, who owns it, any liens, like stuff like that. How I use PropStream is I can put in an address. Bam. I can find out immediately who the owner is. I can find out when they last bought it. I can find out approximate mortgage information. What I love about that is that I can click on a button, find all the local comps, go granularize the comps, right? So I can go say, if this is a 1,500 square foot house, I don't want anything larger than 1,700 and anything smaller than 1,400. If I want 3-bedroom, 2-bath, I pick that exact model and it shoots out exactly what's sold. And a lot of it's from the MLS. So I'm able to see more things that I could see than going using 3 or 4 different programs like Zillow, county records, all this stuff. It's right there for us. And once I find those comps, I just hit print or save as PDF, and I have those. So 1, I can use them as an argument for myself. 2, if I'm selling a property, I upload that PDF to the buyer so they can just say, hey, look, here goes your comps. You know, we did our homework. And I go back to just like anything else. If you see me talk about a product, 1, I've either built it and owned it, or 2, I really use it and I believe in it. Yes, I get paid from all of them. But the true thing is I have integrity where I would tell you that, yo, any of these products will work. Just like I was telling, what's his name, Ali, I believe. Any of these products will work, but if you get REI Rail, which you just got, if you still in your free 7-day, what I would do is watch every YouTube video on how to use it to the maximum and squeeze the juice out of that, right? It's like if I gave you an orange and you only ate half of it or you didn't squeeze it. That's what people do when they buy these softwares and these shiny new things, and they don't go out and actually spend the time to learn it. And if you can be deadly with that PropStream if you use it correctly.
Gotcha. So would you say how does that compare to ListSource? Would you say you still use ListSource to pull your list as well?
So I have a much bigger company. So for me, if you don't pull more than 10,000 records a month, then you can do it right there on PropStream. Okay. I'm pulling, this morning I pulled like 60,000 records just in different ways and formats. So we have a different business model. You get 10,000 lists, 10,000 pulls on property. That's all you need, and that's all you need. But ListSource is a service that you pay for as you need it, and PropStream is just something that's a regular thing you pay for. But I would study PropStream. I'm not just saying that. I would challenge yourself all week. This week, study the benefits of PropStream, like hands down.
Okay. All right. Thanks, man. I also thank you for coming out. Came out to the Shy last week, man. Talked to you on stage.
Oh, appreciate that, man. Thank you for coming down.
Yes,
Right. Okay, cool. We're gonna got a couple more because I asked Max for an hour. I was like, bro, give me an hour.
My mom's Jamaican food is like I smell it right now.
So this is the last person that has a new question. We had some other people, and unfortunately, you guys already asked some questions. But I'm gonna go with Sean, and we're gonna end it with Sean. Where you at? Sean, you there?
Sean sleeping.
Trying to unmute him.
No.
But I can't. Try to unmute yourself, Sean. I don't know what happened, bro.
I'm here now. You hear me?
Oh, yeah. Now we got you.
Hey, what's going on, Tommy? What's going on, Max?
How you doing, brother?
Good. I'm the cousin. I was going to smack Thomas for paying $100 to call you.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the guy that was like, yo, what's wrong with you, man? Crazy. You give him $100.
I was like, I'll talk to you for free. But but question for you, Max. I always wondered, actually retiring from the Air Force next year, actually real estate agent. So I always wondered, what is Francis's role in Triad? Because I'm a real estate agent and I'm around real estate agents, and I'm trying to get them out of I'm only a real estate agent because I'm in the military. I got people PCS in and out. So I'm like, these are listings that's easy. Mm-hmm. But I want to start incorporating some of my friends that are real estate agents in the wholesale business with me. Like, what does Francis do? What is the whole what is his part in the business?
Yeah, so Francis has come from a different cloth. He is a licensed broker, has his own firm, but he only traditionally worked with investors from day one when he started doing real estate. So he's not a traditional listing broker. Now, what he does in our company is he lists all our properties. He knows, he's very proficient with the neighborhood, but he didn't have to be a realtor to do that. And he's also, the guy has so many hats. He's also, because he's been doing investments and he's personally flipped over 100 properties, he controls all the rehabs that we have. And he also goes on an appointments. Because remember, when I first got to $100,000 a month, it was just me and Francis and some virtual assistants. So Francis is like a Swiss Army knife to me. And he does quite a bit. As far as leveraging other realtors, most of the time you're not going to get them to see this until it's too late. So I would, I would use them for what they are, an army of people.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Man, thanks a lot.
Absolutely, no problem.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this thing up, man. Again, appreciate it, man. Before you go, I personally, and I always tell this to people. I owe this man a lot of he just poured a lot into me, right? And so one of the things that me and him both know, even before I met him, I was a big proponent of mentorship and learning from other people that are doing it. Instead of making mistakes over and over again, being able to just learn from someone or learn from a group of people and kind of navigate around those mistakes. So real quick, I know you said you don't really care. You're like, I know you're just doing this out of the love, but can you tell us a little bit about We Live 2020? What's going on with that? What can we expect? I'm excited about it. It's in Atlanta this time, so I'm really excited about that. So can you tell us a little bit about that before you head out? Yeah, man. So I usually don't like go on there and then talk about these, like give information and on the back end talk about these things. One is I built a brand big enough to where that these events will sell out anyways. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I say about We Live that this year and last year too. So last year was in Dallas. The year before was in Charlotte. In Dallas, we had 1,200 wholesalers in the building for 3 days. It's crazy. That's just paid conference, wholesale conference I know of. But for me, it's more like a family reunion. We get together for 2 or 3 days in a hotel. We take over the entire hotel. We learn from the stage. We do breakout rooms. But more importantly, imagine being in a place where you got 600-800 other active wholesalers from across the country. That's more powerful than anybody that I can put on that stage. Is being around like-minded people for 3 days for you to recharge your energy pack. I think that's what it is for me. Like going there and learning from even people that paid to be in attendance. I learned from those guys too, and it's just important. So We Live is just going to be another family reunion of wholesalers, man. It's just going to be fun. If you guys haven't been to one, listen, I promise you, save up some coins, all right? Yeah. Invest in it, because when you're around that many people, all your excuses are eliminated. Yeah. Because you're seeing someone that is less fortunate than you or was less fortunate than you do it, right? You're seeing someone who's more fortunate than you doing it, and you're seeing everybody in between. And so it eliminates the excuse. You can't say, oh, I'm a single mother, when you're sitting next to a single mother who's doing 6 figures a month. Or she's on stage talking about doing 6 figures a month. Or when she's talking about it, right? You can't use those same excuses. And that energy is just so contagious, man. Too many times during our life, like I said, when I was a cop, I just hung around cop stuff, and we just talked about cop stuff, and it was depressing, right? And none of the cop stuff made money, right? So here's the opportunity to be around 600, 700 wholesalers. That right there, you can't put like a value on that. Like you have no idea what those think about this. You have no idea what those meetings, how they can change the trajectory of your life. I had no idea that $100, 30-minute phone call investment, how that was going to change the trajectory of my life. I just had to take a bet on myself. I just had to try. right? I just knew what I was doing wasn't working, and I had to try something else, right?
Yeah, I enjoy when I was at We Live 19 this past time, and people were just hanging out 2 a.m. They hanging out in the lobby talking. You know, that was just energy. You know what I'm saying?
Cool, man. Well, bro, I ain't gonna keep you too longer from those ox bones. Oxtails. Oxtails. You can tell I haven't eaten meat in a while, man.
Yeah, ox bones. What's wrong with you, man? Get out of here.
And some what is it? Jamaican beef patties with some cocoa bread.
There you go. Now we talking.
Now we talking. All right, cool. Man, I appreciate you, brother, man. Thank you so much, man. And we appreciate you. Everybody else, I can obviously say from the sentiment from the group, we all appreciate you coming on here, spitting some words of knowledge and some wisdom, and just really speaking from the heart, man.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate y'all having on here. Y'all be blessed, and just know if I can do it, anybody can do it. So put those excuses to the side and let's grind.
Sure. All right, everybody, that wraps it up, man. We love you guys, and we will see you on Wednesday. Peace.
Later, Blue.
God bless, man. Have a good one, brother.
Tommy, check for those